Hi, I'm Sherrie Grabot, the Chief Executive Officer of GuidedChoice, and this is The Financial Wanderer. This is one of my favorite topics. It also tends to be a very challenging topic. It's interesting because in America, we're one of the most philanthropic countries in the world. We tend to give a lot. And yet, it's not a lot of people who are necessarily giving. It's oftentimes the same people giving a lot. Now, what's the number one barrier to giving? Well, interestingly enough, it's trust. I don't know who to trust in order to give my money, because we've all seen in the popular press the scam stories. You know, you've given your money to this organization, and then you see that the president or somebody is earning either a very, very high salary or they're driving a Maserati, and the money's not going to what you thought it was supposed to go to. So management of those funds creates these high publicity stories, which then decreases our trust. So how can you, as an end user, figure out where to give your money? Well, that's where we come in, and our partnership with Charity Navigator. It's interesting because in our early years of our marriage with my husband and myself, we would take a look annually and decide where we wanted our money to go. We had certain biases, like we wanted to help the poor. That was always one of our biases. Another was we always wanted to help the orphan, the child that didn't have parents or was in the foster care system. So we knew that those were some of our biases. But then on top of it, we wanted to make sure that the organizations that we chose to give our money to spent the money on actually providing services to the poor or services to the orphan. And how we would do that is we would ask them for their financials. We wanted to see the financials, and we wanted to see where their money was going. And we would have kind of a preconceived notion, I would say, of what we felt was high admin percentage or a high marketing cost. And if somebody fell above our threshold, we didn't give our money to that organization. So that's how we did it, I would call it, in the old days, before the technology kind of caught up. We would ask for the financials. Now, a total red flag for us back then is if they wouldn't give us their financials. Wow, then we knew something was amiss and we just didn't donate to that organization. But back then it did take quite a bit of work, right? We had to contact the organization, we had to get their financials, then we had to review it, and we had to then make our decisions. In today's world, it's so much easier. Now what we do is we have a partnership with our 3 Nickels app, and we use Charity Navigator. And you can go in there, and they literally have already done all that work that I just cited on their own. They've done the financials, they review the financials. If the firm doesn't give them the financials, they indicate that. So you see that the firm won't give up the financial information. They find out how much money the executive team is earning. They find out where the money is actually going, and they list out the expenses. And then from there, they rate the organizations based on those that are most efficient, that are most transparent, which is key, and that has the highest percentage of the money going to the services to help the individuals that they say they want to help. It becomes a very easy way in order to gauge whether or not the organization that you're looking at contributing to, whether or not they're trustworthy and whether or not they're actually accomplishing the goals that you want to see accomplished. Because with that Charity Navigator, we only look at those entities that have 4 stars or more. Again, the star system being used to measure how well they're operating in their operating expenses efficiency, in where the money is actually being spent, as well as in the executive pay, and overall in the administration expenses and marketing expenses. So that is a very viable tool to figure out where you want to donate your money. Most people like to give to a place that has relevance to their own life. So it has to do with your own life experiences. For instance, you're an animal person. If you're an animal person, then typically you want to give to organizations that help support animals. Well, when you go to Charity Navigator, you can actually input that in, say I'm looking for organizations that support animals, and it'll bring up a list of organizations, various organizations helping all different types of animals, right? It might be your local SPA, it might be a marine life organization, lots of different options. You can then further narrow it down to what type of organization you'd be willing to contribute to. And then from there, get those list of organizations, see their rating, take a look at their financials, take a look at what they're doing and where their focus is, and see if it aligns with your values. Now again, some people care more about the financial aspect than others. You have to decide what is important to you and how they're spending your money. You might not, for example, feel as though if they're marketing to get more money, that might be a very viable way to spend the money. But somebody else might think, I'd rather have my money go directly to helping the animals. Either way, it's your choice. You can get at all that information to make sure that it's aligning with your values.